As he gets inside, he sees that all the monsters in the dungeon are mainly goblins, and the interior is also quite similar to the one he cleared yesterday. The world has still haven't figured out how dungeons appear. Previously, the government tried to predict dungeon appearances, but it didn't succeed. The only thing that's known is that the larger the original facility, the larger the dungeon that appears from it, and that in large dungeons, even stronger monsters appear. Awakener then draws his Cerulean Swordsman card, but he cannot kill all the goblins in one slash as the goblins are all around him. While he was thinking of a skill that will help his kill the goblins in one slash. At that time, a message pops up in his head which says that the Cerulean Swordsman has learned a new skill. Name Swift Rings of Silver. The Cerulean Swordsman then performs this technique and kills all the goblins as the technique slashes 360 degrees. The confirmation message of all the monsters cleared in the floor appears, and the Cerulean Swordsman gains 1 rank. Then with the Cerulean Swordsman card, Awakener clears the 2nd to 5th floor in just a few minutes. While clearing this many floors, the Cerulean Swordsman gains many ranks and new skill. Then, in the 6th floor, Awakener gets to meet with a new kind of goblin, the spear. Goblin. The goblins has spears in their hands. By seeing, Awakener the spear goblins throw their spears towards him, but with the new skill of the swordsman he deflected all of it. After that, a message pops up that says that Awakener has successfully intercepted long-ranged attacks. For this, he also gets XP points. The card rank also goes up, and a new skill is generated called the linked attacks. By seeing all of the spears are deflected easily, the goblins get scared. As the goblins were about to run, Awakener orders the swordsman to kill all of them, and the swordsman unleashed his 3-stage thrusts technique. As the technique is performed, blue-colored slashes come from the sword and hits all the goblins and killed them in an instant. The whole area gets covered with Somki from the effects of the attack. As the Somki becomes to clear, we can see all the goblins are killed successfully. Then the message of confirmation of the clear of the floor appears. Awakener was amazed to see that this attack was so powerful that it even shaved of the parts to the dungeon. Mana stones starts to appear from the death monsters. Awakener gets exp, and the rank of the skill all increases. Awakener was so confused to see that, how a card can rank up so much. The gate cards only the Awakeners can use, using mana. The Awakeners can call forth the beings sealed inside and activate unique skills. Each card only has one of those sealed beings, and the type of skill is also fixed to one kind. Furthermore, because gate cards interfere with each other, it's impossible for a single Awakener to use more than one cards. Because of that, it's common knowledge that Awakeners can also only use one same skill. That's why Awakeners need to team up with other card users who complement them. For example, if a user has fire-type card and skill and the monster has a fire resistance, the attacks of that fire user will not affect the monster very much. In this time, a user with a different type of skill which is effective against the monster can swap up with the fire user and can easily defeat the monster. But in Awakener's case, the power he obtained completely ignores this rules. The cards that Awakener possess can also raise its rank, and each of the cards also has multiple skills. Originally, cards like these should not exist at all. One card is lone enough to kill all the monsters in a dungeon. With this ability, Awakener can easily clear any type of dungeon. But Awakener was thinking that. What will happen if he encounter a dungeon that is far greater in level than his cards? While thinking this foul thoughts, he has reached the 7th floor of the dungeon. As he enters, he sees that a huge goblin is standing in front of him. This is the boss of this dungeon. The boss of this dungeon is also a goblin king, but its rank is C+, and it is also equipped with a spear and armor. Awakener was watching the monster from a very far distance. He was thinking that it would be very reassuring to have a skill that will be able to kill that monster from this distance. He then remembers that there is a new skill that the Cerulean Swordsman has got. and he didn't try it yet. He then draws the card and told it to perform its new technique, Divine Speed Sword Draw. The swordsman then sheathes his katana, and a huge blue slash appears and hits the Goblin King. From the hit of it, the Goblin King fly away and hit the dungeon wall and break it. It was died on the spot. Okita was amazed to see that, even from that distance, it can kill the boss monster and even shatters the dungeon. He was so happy that he have these amazing cards with such powerful skills. The dungeon clearance massage has come. Okita then takes up the mana stone that comes from the dungeon boss, and with it, he replenish his mana. Then a message appears which says, as the dungeon is cleared. So within 300 seconds, the building will become back to its original state. Okita then gets out of the dungeon and goes to Matsuda-san and shows him the mana stone of the dungeon boss. Matsuda-san gets so shocked, and at the same time very happy. He gets so excited, he starts to take Okita to next dungeon. He also didn't give Okita the chance to eat the bento that Saki has made for him. Later we can see Okita is in a dungeon. He draws his Cerulean Swordsman card and again orders it to perform a new skill name, Vortex of Emptiness, Vacuum Tornado. The swordsman swirls his kanata and makes a tornado around his kanata, and after that, as he launched the attack, a golden color beam goes towards the goblins and kills all of them, and destroys the whole place. In this last few days, Okita have been clearing all the dungeonized buildings owned by Matsuda-san. While clearing them, he acquired many card skills, and crushed many boss and cleared the dungeons. While clearing all the dungeon, he had built a relationship with Matsuda-san and Saki. He also had a great dinner in their house. Okita didn't think that he would ever be able to spend his time this fulfilled after being treated like a disposable. After that, we can see he is fight with a dungeon boss, which is a mutated subspecies Goblin King. This is the most powerful monster among all the monsters Okita had encountered in all the Matsuda-san's dungeons. But the monster was not powerful enough to stand against Okita's Cerulean Swordsman. The Cerulean Swordsman attacks the monster and cuts it into pieces within a second. And with this, Okita had finished clearing all the dungeons of Matsuda-san. He then gets out and meets with Matsuda-san. Matsuda-san praises him and said that he didn't only help him, rather he has helped a lot of people. The stores that were inside these buildings now can reopen, and many people will be able to live here again. Okita then says that there's no need to praise him so highly as this is his job. After that, Okita bids farewell to Matsuda-san and leaves. As Okita leaves, Saki has rushed from her school to see Okita, but she was a bit late as Okita has just left. She was a bit sad that she cannot see Okita even though she ran so fast, but her grandfather cheers her up and said that Okita is an Awakener, so he has lots to other works to do. Saki then understands her grandfather's words and hopes that they can meet with Okita in the near future. Then we can see in the Clearwater headquarters, Miss Yuriko has just arrived in the office. She then goes to her table, and as she sits on her desk and turns on her laptop to see the information of all the dungeons cleared in this week, she sees that, in this week, no large dungeons has been cleared. Only 2 medium dungeons and 8 small dungeons has been cleared. By seeing the 8 small dungeons cleared, she found it a bit unusual as this 8 dungeons has been neglected for a long time. She thought that a large corporation has dispatched a large team and cleared all of them. But she was doubting her thought as it is quite impossible to clear 8 small dungeons in 1 week. So she decides to check the registered data. As she sees this, she gets a shock as the 8 small dungeons were cleared by Okita Hikaru, who's AF Minus Awakener. By seeing her so shocked, all of her colleges gathered around here, and as they see the name Okita, who cleared 8 small dungeons, some of them said that this is not the Okita that quite their company, and some of them starts to say that. What's the fuss about clearing 8 small dungeons in this small dungeons? Only goblins appears, which are low-ranked monsters. As Yuriko was hearing all of this, she gets frustrated and gets up from her seat and walks to a quiet place. As she was walking, she was thinking that clearing 8 small dungeons in a couple of days is a very difficult job. but she was thinking, how Okita has archived this great feat while he was in the company. He only has the gate card to recovery. She thinks that Okita might have been invited into a strong team. But she rethinks this and gets that this might not be the case, as if the 8 small dungeons has been cleared by a team. Then why only Okita's name is registered is the registered data. She then thinks that Okita might have got a strong gate card when he cleared the dungeon with Taira-san's team. She then gets worried about Okita, as a too strong card can be very dangerous. We can see Okita is sitting in a cafe at that time. His phone rings as he got a message. As he sees the message, he sees that Yuriko has messaged him and she has invited Okita to see her tomorrow. By reading this, Okita gets a shocked and he starts to blush.